This is Golf with Jay Delsing. A two-time All-American at UCLA. Competed in nearly 700 PGA Tour events, 7 professional wins to his credit. Over 30 years of professional golf experience. A member of the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame and the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame. This is Golf with Jay Delsing.
Golf with Jay Delsing on a Sunday morning, a special Sunday. It is Easter Sunday. And happy Easter, everyone. With Jay Delsing, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Great show lined up for you, as we always do. But in a way, we do give thanks on this Easter Sunday to a guy, Jay, that you will interview. Our guest will be Kelly Chase, going through a tough time, battling cancer. As we like to do, we like to have other sports figures that aren't just golf come on the show, and you're going to have a chance to sit down with Kelly Chase.
Yeah, hey, Denny, happy Easter to you, the family, Libby, and the kids. And, it's I'm really looking forward to talking with Chaser, one of the most beloved sports figures in town. And, here's a guy that's fought for his teammates, fought for the blue note, fought for anybody, anywhere, and now he's got a big fight on his hands. So I'm excited to talk to him and check in on him.
He's always fun, too. He's got great stories.
Yeah, he is. When you get him wound up, bud, you could just sit back. He's the best. He is, and there's no telling. So we needed to. We'll have a button handy.
Okay, I want to make sure you have plenty of time. So let's jump into what we have going on in the show today. Wrapping up Houston Open, home to one of the country's best munis. I got to ask you, when people say muni, let's describe this to the average listener out there that's wanting to get into golf. But a muni, what is it?
It's a public golf course. It's basically, muni is short for municipal, and it's just the county or the local municipalities own and run golf course. So it's wide open. So next week when they clear out all the bleachers and all the hospitality, John Q can walk right on and play it. And but believe it or not, Pebble Beach is a municipal golf course. It's a public golf course, so it's open to the public. And Memorial Park has a big history in Houston. It's a good track, and it'll be interesting. And it's always interesting as we start approaching, Danny. We wrapped up the TPC a couple of weeks ago, and now we're headed towards that first major. My favorite time of the year, man. You got the Masters, you got NHL playoffs are right around the corner. You got the start of the MLB season, all this other. It's a really great, and most of the country's starting to get good weather.
And we're starting to get good weather.
We'll take it.
We'll take it right now, for sure.
Long winter, dog.
It is.
Wow.
We had a couple of cold days this past week. It's not easy to play in the cold. You think okay, it's going to be a little bit better today. It's going to be 50, 55. Then you go outside. It's chilly. But then when the wind picks up, that's what makes it so tough on a golfer.
Absolutely. And Danny, the other thing is you don't have the overall heat, so the ball doesn't perform. We answered a couple of mailbag questions last week about that. I'm like, guys, it's not the same. If it's under 80 degrees, the ball goes nowhere. It just goes nowhere. We got to take our hats off to your son, Luke. He had a 4th place finish in the Bantle at the Missouri Bluffs, a tournament which he's won before as a sophomore. 100 of the best male junior golfers around, and it was a nasty day to play.
Little rain, little wind, little cold.
A little bit of everything.
Well, let's do it right now. Let's tip our cap, and we're tipping our cap to the boys' high school season. It's off and running.
It's off and running, Danny, and this is a tough time of year for the boys. My heart is out to you guys. My hat is off to you. The tip of the cap is brought to you by the Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood. Our buddy Colin Burt is 314-966-0303. Colin can get you any sort of vehicle. He's a great guy. Stop in and see him. All right, so we're April's right around the corner, man. I'm ready. Let's get some April showers. Let's get flowers. Let's get some warm weather. And we got high school golf where the boys are playing. And so we've got it's an action-packed little, 5-week, 6-week
About a 5-week
period.
season,
yeah,
yep.
so they get a lot of tournaments in. They've got individual matches. They've got tournaments like the Bantle, and then they'll go to district and in regionals and states. And we got a lot to follow. We've had Harrison Ziffel on the show. We had his teammate Nick on the show. We also had Bubba Chapman. And so we got a lot to follow. We got some really good young players. Luke McLaughlin is definitely in the top 3 or 4 players in the area. So we got a lot to watch. We got a lot to root for. Boys, stay warm. They probably don't care at that age. They're not cold like we are, but
they just go out and
they're
play
just
and
like,
hit it.
whatever. I don't even have a sweater on. I'm like, I need a parka. but have a great time, and we'll be watching and hopefully check in with some of you guys. And that's the tip of the cap. It's brought to you by Dean Team Volkswagen Kirkwood at 314-966-0303. Thank you, Dean Team, for the support.
How about an average golfer going out and saying, yeah, I can play on the PGA Tour. I played that golf course.
Oh, yeah.
I played that Muni. I'd be fine.
You'd be fine.
Not a chance.
Not a chance. Well, not from those tees.
You
might have played them, but from different tees. I mean, Danny, I was reading an article. Our buddy Jeff Budrovic, who is redoing Fox Run. Fox Run's back tees measure over 8,400 yards. Now, nobody plays back there, but when you go to a PGA Tour event, they're regularly designing tees that are 7,800, 7,900. I mean, folks, you play a golf course right now from the proper tees, and let's say it's 6,000 yards. It's playing every inch of 6,000 yards. We are getting no roll in our fairways whatsoever. And now we're going to start aerifying greens. It's a challenging time to play, but man, you mix that, a little cool weather, and some wind, Danny, and it is all you want, man. You've got to really manage your expectations.
How long does it take for a municipal golf course to get into the shape that it needs to be for the protocols for the PGA Tour? How long does that have to shut down?
That's a great question. That's a great question. And it'll be on a case-by-case basis, Danny, but they'll start going in 6 to 7 months ahead of time and making sure, do we need to seed the rough? Do we need, and things like that? How's the sand consistency? What are the bunkers like? Marking the course is always challenging. So we're eventually going to get a rules official and some folks that are aligned with us at the Ascension Charity Classic to discuss what it's like to run a tournament. From the rule situation, from the golf course standpoint, you think about what we do at the Ascension Charity Classic, and you and I are out selling cabanas and skyboxes and whatever. We'll sell hot dogs, whatever we need to do to get this.
We love it.
Get this thing done. But D, you can't just plop a cabana or a skybox anywhere. You got to worry about, because these things overlap into sight lines. They overlap into the course of play. So there's a lot of thought that goes into it and how you want it to look and the playability aspect for the players, because you can't jeopardize the golf course itself and the play of the golf course just because you want to put some cool skyboxes and things in.
It's amazing to me at Norwood. They shut down the course maybe a week, the West course, maybe a week before, and that's it. And the course is ready to go. They keep that place in magnificent shape.
Mike Null is a rock star. He does it every single year. We have the best greens. I'm just going to say, Norwood has the best greens in the state of Missouri year in and year out. Every single year. And Danny, I don't think the West Course will close occasionally for some of the logistics as they have to bring trucks and things in, but and they'll close a hole as they're building things up. Not that you and I would ever do that, but a ball might be hit errantly to where the workers are. Man, I think 2 years ago,
I took a couple guys out, man.
Oh, man, I think a couple of years ago, I spent more time in the skyboxes than I did on the greens. But I don't think Mike closes the course at all. I think the members get to play right up to the Sunday before. They think they close it at like 2:00 that day, and it's nothing. I mean, it's really, truly amazing.
That is amazing to be able to do that. And I think you're right. I need to correct myself. I thought that they shut it down a week before. I remember you and I playing on that Sunday.
Yeah, remember?
Yes, on the Sunday, a week away from when they would award the championship, and that's just not seen across the board. Normally, you're shutting down these courses weeks in advance.
Yeah, no question. I mean, it's a tribute to Mike. Mike is he's as much of a golf geek and golf nerd as you and I are. I mean, he truly cares about the members' experiences and how they play the course and how they find the course and things like that. And those greens, remember how pure those greens were in that? We were in the kind of dusky. It was like maybe 5 or 6 o'clock, not really dusk, but it was getting later, and it was just spectacular.
And they've kept those greens going here in the cold weather, too. We played the other day. They were rolling perfectly and quickly.
Really quickly.
Yes.
Yeah, really, really quickly. We played the East Golf Course, and they were like glass, man. They were smooth and fast. The wind was blowing. That golf course was a beast.
Normally, what do they roll at on the PGA Tour? 13s?
Yeah, some PGA Tours anywhere between 11.5 and 13. The Champions Tour, they try to keep right about 10.5.
It's pretty good, though.
Oh, it's nice. Yeah, I mean, it's plenty. It's all I can handle.
All anybody can handle. This past week, Tiger did commit officially to the Masters. It was a foregone conclusion he was going to do this. But when you get the official word, that is something that matters. If you're just a fan out there and the only time you tune in is for the Masters and he's a part of it, you stop and watch.
I agree.
He means that much.
I agree, Danny, and it's going to be monumental for him to just make the cut this year. I'm just going to say that right now. He has played 0 golf. I mean, he tried to play the LA Open. That was in February, and he didn't. He got ill, unfortunately. So he played a nice first round at even par, and then had to back out. But it's just going to be tough, man. You go into a major championship, and you've played one competitive round in the last, what is it, year and a half now?
It's about that,
probably since Augusta, maybe
Play
a year.
the PNC, if you want to call that competitive.
Yeah, that's relatively competitive. I mean, you got your son there with you, but still, I mean, it's just tough, man. It's just tough, and his putting has been the most obvious component that has been just off. But you got your heart pounding and your knees are knocking, your sweat. You've got to work your way into that. That's why I was hoping maybe the players, maybe even the Texas Open. Before either he just hasn't. So he really hasn't done what he said he was going to do and play once a month.
One of the great things that you can do, though, with the Masters, I've done it. I was down in Mexico calling a baseball game and watching him at the Masters before he made the run.
Yeah.
You can follow the select groups.
Oh,
so I just
so
followed
much fun.
Tiger the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
I love that you're able to do that with the app.
Oh, I agree. The Masters is they do things so well there. I love right around the first of the year, you start getting these little headlines, Masters buys more property. And you're like, what? They've got some crazy stuff underfoot down there every single year. It's really, really super cool. And for folks that have never been there, it's a bucket list. It truly is. You don't even have to love golf. Just be the occasional guy. The place is gorgeous. It is the most immaculate kept grounds you'll ever see in your life, and the tournament, you don't have to love golf to enjoy the excitement, the tradition, the organization. It's beautiful.
I'm thinking bucket list things. Kentucky Derby, I want to do that. Haven't done that. I've been to a Stanley Cup Finals.
Yep.
I've been to a World Series. I've been to an All-Star game.
Yep.
Been to NBA games.
Yep.
I haven't seen NBA Finals.
Yep.
But still, number one on my list, sports-wise, is going to the Masters.
Did you ever go to the Indianapolis 500?
I did.
Now,
as a young kid.
I have not, but I heard that. Was that memorable?
It was great.
I'm not a car guy.
It was great. We were on the inside of the track, so we could see up close the drivers.
On the infield?
Infield.
Yep.
And we were there for the time trials. And so to see the time trials and then to stick around for the actual race, it's bucket list. It's going to blow your ears out, but it was awesome.
Did you wear ear protection and stuff? I heard it is so loud.
Jay, I was so young, and this is a long time ago. This is 40 years ago that we were going, and they said, well, if you want to hold your ears, you can do that. But they did not have anything to protect your ears, which if you go over to Gateway now, they advise you. You need to do this because you need to protect your ears.
Oh, yeah.
You have to do it.
It was also, we were kids and we didn't wear helmets on our bikes.
That's the other thing, too. We didn't wear seatbelts.
No, we didn't wear seatbelts. I remember Dad smoking a cigarette, holding a drink. I was holding his backup drink, and we'd drive the entire neighborhood down to baseball practice.
Yeah. That's how it was done.
That's what it was like. We had 17 kids hanging out of an old station wagon. Yeah.
You had to find a way.
Everybody was fine.
All right, did you see this? I thought it's a great story, but Chandler Phillips, a rookie, hits a spectator last weekend. Did you see that?
I did, Danny, and I got to tell you, I've experienced first of all, I thought he handled himself incredibly well. This is him playing in the last group, got a chance to win the golf tournament, and something like this happens. It is incredibly unsettling when this is going to sound terrible, but when you haven't hit a lot of people. And I know that sounds crazy, but the first time I'm sending a ball off the reservation, headed right into a crowd, I'm like, oh no. And you're yelling, 4, 4, and, sometimes it just falls to the ground. Sometimes two stories come to mind. I've told this one before. I'm playing in the last group at Hartford. I got a chance to win the tournament. I hit a terrible drive on like the 4th or 5th hole. I have to hit this big, high slicing 5-iron from like 230 yards around this tree, and it doesn't slice. It goes flying in the crowd, and I see this big woman go down. Boom, hit her right in the ankle, blew her ankle out, broke her ankle.
Did it really?
And she was crying, and I got up there. Oh, man, I felt terrible. I'm like, are you okay? She goes, no, I'm not. You hit me. I said, I know. I'm really sorry. I wasn't trying to hit you. She's like, you hit me. I think you broke my ankle. And I'm like, I signed a glove for her. I said, I really am sorry. If you're in the hospital, I'd love your information. And then I got to go. I got to keep going. But, Danny, the worst was probably my second or third year on tour. I'm in Flint, Michigan, playing at Warwick Hills in the Buick Invitational. And on the second hole, it's a par 4D. It goes up over a hill and then down. And so it's kind of a blind tee shot. There's woods to the left, and the right just has some sporadic trees. So you're trying to favor down the right, and I've slammed one down the right. And I'm like, okay, we go down there. And I look, as I get over the crest of the hill, I look over and I see a young man. He's got a white T-shirt on. It's covered in blood. I get up there, so I'm playing in the afternoon. I get up there, there's 25 beer cans there. He was sitting under this tree with his girlfriend. I don't know how old he was, maybe 20, whatever.
Sure.
And he's bleeding and I'm like, oh man, you okay? He goes, I'm fine. He had a couple, so he wasn't feeling a whole lot of pain. And there were some paramedics that came along. Danny, my ball went 60 yards straight to the right. I was literally 2 holes over. And it's a hard thing to see, all that
it's
blood.
Gotta be unnerving.
It's unnerving. And I was definitely shaken up. And my ex-wife, she was my wife at the time, says to me, I was having a nice time. I was 5 or 6 under par and was, in the middle of it. And she could tell that I was really shaken up. And she said to me, he's okay. He's just fine. Don't worry about it. He's okay. And I'm like, really? It's all that blood? She goes, yeah, it's a head wound. They bleed a lot. And I was like, okay. So I got it back together, made a couple more birdies, and made shot a nice score. And I'm signing my scorecard, and Montana, who is a tour official, slides me over a piece of paper. I look on it, it's got a name and a phone number on it. And I'm like, and a room number. I'm like, what's this? They said, that's the hospital room. The kid's in the hospital.
Oh, no.
He took 12 stitches to his head.
Did you go see him?
I called, and he didn't have to stay overnight.
Yeah.
He was in and out. And so I called him, and I said, dude, you want to come to the tournament? I go, if you're going to follow me, stand behind me. Look what happens. Look what happens when you stand in front of me. He was great. So I left him a glove and a ball and some balls, some Titleist balls and stuff. And he was like, it's all good, man. Don't worry about it.
But that's the risk that you run if you're a patron. You understand when you're in that event, and especially if you're near where most of the balls are landing with drives, let's say.
Yeah.
You could get an errant shot. That happens all the time.
All the time. And it's right on the ticket. It's right on the ticket. But still, from the human side. So I'll tell you a funny story, Danny. So I think I'm playing with Hal Sutton or someone, and he hits this wild drive. And I'm like, 4, 4, 4. 4 right. And he says to me, keep your lips off my ball. And I'm like, hell, he goes, that ball might hit somebody and come back in the fairway. And I was like, wow. But, after you hit a few people a few times, it sounds awful, but you kind of get, calloused. You're like, hit somebody in the ankle and come out to the fairway or something. But, yeah, it can definitely be unnerving.
There are plenty of stories, too, where it lands in a purse or it lands in a cup.
Yep.
And you have to all of a sudden play through that. What if somebody, let's just say for argument's sake, it lands in a lady's purse.
Yep.
She doesn't realize it, picks up the purse, walks a few steps, and then another patron says, oh, by the way, Delsing's ball is in your purse. You may want to stop.
Yeah.
What's the ruling on that?
So when you're bald, that's a great question. So because that's happened before. I've actually hit it in a woman's purse, and I look in there, I'm like, what in the heck is in this? What's in this handbag of yours? She's like, hey, this is my stuff. Like it's like an overnight bag.
Yeah, sure.
There's brushes, and I'm like, whatever. So if your ball has not established a position on the ground, ball has to be dropped as close to that where it was lying as possible. So her bag was sitting next to her chair. My ball flew into her bag, and so we moved the chair and all this stuff, and I dropped as closely as possible. So like one time, Danny, they have massive amounts of power cables spread out all over the golf course. Most of them aren't in the fairway, and most of my drives didn't go in the fairway. So I remember hitting one on top of the cables, and I'm like, do I drop that? So I called an official, and he goes, it doesn't have a place on the ground. It's not like he said, let's say you had 2 small cables and your ball was resting against it. Then you'd move the cables, the ball might roll, but you put it back and put it right back there. So if the ball doesn't have any sort of location or any part of it touching the ground, then you've got to drop it as close to that area as you can.
Boy, it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, there's so many different rules, Dee, especially in tournament golf where you have these temporary immovable obstructions where you're like, I'm in the bleachers, what do I do? There's all sorts of tournament regs that the average golfer doesn't have to deal with.
Let's wrap it up with this. There have been a lot of private meetings and texts between the PGA players and the Saudi PIF.
Yep.
And are you hearing anything from that you're so well connected with past players, the current players? What are you hearing on this? What's the latest?
I'm talking to everybody I can, and it's pretty hard. The overall consensus is it's about time. I mean, what in the hell were we waiting for? And the stuff that I've read has said the guys, Malnati, Scott, Jordan Spieth, Webb Simpson, Tiger, Patrick Cantlay, there's one other I'm missing. They were extremely impressed with this guy, and he's going to be a partner. Let's do it.
Just cut the cord. Let's go.
Let's get it done, and let's figure out a way where we don't have to go somewhere else to watch John Rahm play.
I just miss him, man. I miss seeing the big names.
I know.
And it's not good for the PGA Tour. You can't sell me on the fact that some of these guys that are winning, congratulations to them.
Yeah.
I don't want to take anything away from them.
Right.
But they're not moving the needle. They're not household names. You need the household names.
It helps. In our game, Danny, you're 100% right. Now, everybody likes a story, and you can sprinkle those in. But we had a run there of 2 or 3 weeks where
the West Coast swing.
Our leaderboards look unrecognizable.
Exactly.
And that's but then again, we look at what happened at the players, and then what happened at Mr. Palmer's the Invitational at Bay Hill, and that made all seem okay.
Okay, we've got Puck Cancer coming to town. It's an event put together by Kelly Chase. You're going to visit with Kelly coming up after the break. What are you going to get into outside of the event? What else do you want to ask Kelly Chase?
I just want to talk about, how this – I just want to, first of all, see how he's doing. You and I have known Kelly for a long time. This is a guy that's got a big heart and does a lot for the community for sick. He's been visiting sick kids his whole career. So he's an overachiever, Danny. I want to talk to him a little bit. Like, what was it like in his career? He had that great movie, folks. If you haven't seen Ice Guardians, you got to watch it. It's about the enforcers in the NHL, and he executive produced that. I want to talk to him a little bit about that. I want to talk to him a little bit about his boys, and his family, and how this has impacted him, and really just see how he's doing and how this has changed him. Because, when you have to look at your own mortality square in the eye, it's tough. And this is a tough guy. He's fought a lot of people, but he's always been able to look and somebody in the eye as who he's fought. And this is not the case. And this is probably the toughest. I'm sure he's going to say the toughest thing he's ever faced.
That's Jay Delsing. I'm Dan McLaughlin. This is Golf with Jay Delsing on this Easter Sunday. When we come back, Jay will sit down with Kelly Chase. That's coming up on 101 ESPN.
That was On the Range. Up next, we tee it up as we head to the front nine. You're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing.
I'm delighted to welcome the Amateur Players Tour to the Golf with Jay Delsing show. The APT team has worked so hard to establish a national golf tour for amateurs. Folks, don't miss out on this opportunity. If you love golf and ever wondered what all the fuss about tournament golf is, then this tour is for you. We just released the 2024 schedule, and it is a beast. There's 21 events currently in the metropolitan St. Louis area, with many more to come. But check out these golf courses: Paynes Valley, Ozark National, Stonewolf, Ambrier, Persimmon Woods, Gateway National, and a 36-hole event on Norwood's West Course, and many more. Okay, so the courses are certainly cool and nice, but what's really neat is the way the events are run and how they are run. The APT team does a fantastic job of closely monitoring handicaps and ensuring a good and fair competition. There are 5 divisions, a year-long points competition, major championships, elevated events, and much, much more. Right now, there are over 6,000 members in 41 different local chapters across the country, and all that's happened in just over 5 years. Join now and don't miss out on the best tournament golf in the country, run for amateurs by amateurs themselves. Go to amateurplayerstour.com. That's amateurplayerstour.com.
Get ready to watch the legends of golf up close when they compete at historic Norwood Hills Country Club right here in St. Louis. The Ascension Charity Classic will be back again with some of golf's greatest names: Steve Stricker, Padraig Harrington, John Daly, David Duval, Bernard Longer, Justin Leonard, David Toms, and more will compete, returning September 3rd through the 8th. Visit AscensionCharityClassic.com for information.
Daugherty Business Solutions has been enhancing the business of our customers for the last 37 years. How do we do it? Through our expertise in technology, better use of data and analytics, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. We roll up our sleeves and collaborate. We build applications and effectively communicate with our partner clients to bring their goals and objectives to the finish line. Our award-winning Access Point program is a community game changer. With nearly 100 students in the program, mostly young African-American females are making between $55,000 and $60,000 per year right out of high school. That's right, $55,000 to $60,000 a year right after high school graduation. That's when they begin their training. CEO Ron Daugherty believes the talent is equally distributed, but access to that opportunity is not. So here's Access Point, providing more and more opportunity for those in and around our community. It's Daugherty Business Solutions.
Hi, this is Peter Jacobson, and you're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing.
Are you driving an out-of-warranty car? It's only a matter of time before your out-of-warranty vehicle is in the shop costing you thousands of dollars. Auto repair costs are up nearly 20% from last year, which is 4 times the rate of inflation. If an unexpected breakdown happened today, would you be ready for that? Well, now you can be with a plan through CarShield. Even if your car is just over 3 years old, it's still prone to expensive costs. Your car is more than just getting you from point A to point B. Traveling by car is a way of life. From picking up your kids to going to a new restaurant, cars are a daily essential. When you enroll in a car protection plan through CarShield, you can look forward to the following: the price will never go up no matter how many claims you file. Or no matter how high the mileage on your car increases. CarShield offers protection plans that start as low as $100 per month. That's $100 per month. They have repair coverage for up to 5,000 different parts of your vehicle. Plus, when your car breaks down and you're stuck on the side of the road, you get 24/7 coast-to-coast roadside assistance. You also get complimentary towing and rental car options. CarShield has my back when my car breaks down, and they can have yours too. Call CarShield today at 800-465-6550 or visit carshield.com. It's CarShield, proud sponsor of the Golf with Jay Delsing show.
Hi, this is Adam Betts from Family Golf and Learning Center. At FGLC here in Kirkwood, we feature a double-decker driving range, 2 large grass tees with Tahoma Bermuda grass. You want to work on your short game? We have a short game area too, which features a 20,000 square foot green, 3 bunkers, and Zoysia surrounds. Also at Family Golf and Learning Center, don't forget about our 9-hole par 3 course, the indoor TrackMan simulators, and our performance center. If you're looking for the best golf instruction, regardless of skill, we can help. Find out more at FamilyGolfOnline.com. That's FamilyGolfOnline.com. Family Golf and Learning Center. We make St. Louis better at golf.
This is The Front Nine, presented by the Ascension Charity Classic. To learn more, visit AscensionCharityClassic.com.
This is Golf with Jay Delsing, and thanks, Danny. And I am visiting this morning with number 39, one of the most beloved sports figures in all of sports and in St. Louis, Kelly Chase. Chaser, thanks for joining me this morning.
I'm happy to do it, buddy. How you been?
I have been good, man. I've been good. I've been thinking a lot about you. This time of year is my favorite when the Masters comes around. We got playoff hockey, which the Blues are right on the outside looking in. We got baseball starting at one of my favorite times of year. And you got a great event coming up in April 5th. But let's just give the golf world a little peek at how you doing. Tell us a little bit about what's happening.
The golf world?
Yeah, the golf world, man, they love you.
Man, I got to tell you, I was just I just did Spittin' Chicklets, and I was on with Justin Thomas. He was just before me, so that was the split. I said, somebody's profile's dropping rapidly. I'm not sure it's mine or yours. So he responded back something about some washed-up hockey player. I said, well, let's see who's got the better of the Brett Hull stories, because he's at Troubadour with the group we had there. Justin is, as well as Hully's there too, right? So I love running into those guys on all the Discovery properties and having some laughs with them and joking around with them. And look, I mean, what you guys do is I mean, it's amazing to me, because it's the concentration of every shot. Now, it's a hell of a lot harder sport, hockey, but the concentration that you guys have and what you do, it's mesmerizing to me. It's like I laugh, because it's truly amazing what you guys do.
Chaser, it's interesting, because there are times where because I played all sorts of sports, not hockey, but there are times where I wish someone could hit me, or I could hit, or just take off running. There's so much anxiety that you have. You're like, man, because when I played basketball, man, I had 5 fouls, so the first time I got, it was a good one. If you're going to, I'm going to make this, I'm going to make this count. I'm not going to, just tap your wrist. We're going to hammer you.
Well, I tell my kids that all the time. People are like, oh, you'd never hit him where you were down. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And my youngest kid is a tough kid, and he's probably, I'm positive he's tougher than I was when I was at that age, right? So I say to him, he's like, what? He goes to me the other day, you just want me to just drill him while he's laying there? And I go, yeah, that's the point. because next time they don't come back looking for it. Like, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Give the guy one so he never forgets it, and he never comes back around and screws with you or any of your teammates. That's the point. And now it's all this, I joke with them, and look, I'm going to be honest. I haven't listened to. I listened to a couple of your guys on the podcast. They gave it a little away with a little bit, but like I'm all rub each other's head after a fight. All this other crap drives me crazy. Just if you make a point, fight, go to the penalty box, have the guy think you might do it again. Don't touch my teammates. End of story.
Chaser, the way the game's, it's the penalties, the fighting. I mean, even the crowd. The crowd is so much more. I mean, you go to the old barn and there'd be 5 fights on the ice and 3 in your section.
The old arena, I used to laugh. I tell my kids, I'm like, no, you used to walk through the crowd to get off the ice. If you got kicked out of the game before the game was over, there was no ushers clearing a path for you to the locker room. Guys were smoking cigarettes, patting you on the back. Great fight, Chase. Blowing smoke in your face. You're trying to catch your breath. You've been in a 3-minute fight with someone from the Blackhawks. 2 other guys are trying to get at you. You get off the ice and you got 27 guys blowing smoke in your face telling you what a great fight it was. What a sport.
You got to love it. You got to love it. Yeah, the modern hockey, it's, oh, boy. A lot of skill, Chaser, but, boy, it has changed so much.
How are you enjoying, like, doing this and doing broadcasting and stuff like that?
I like
talking
it.
And interviewing guys.
I like it. I like it. I like preparing, like getting ready to talk to you and looking at your career and some of the other guys. I've had Jack Nicklaus. I've had Wayne Gretzky on the show. It's so humbling. I mean, I feel like I didn't even play. My career is so lousy. It's like, man, did you even do anything? I'm like, I tried, but it didn't. Nothing really worked out for me.
That's how I ended up retiring. I was like, I woke up one morning and I could hear the loop on NHL Network and I could hear myself. And I was like I sound like the guy I don't want to sound like. Like, that makes it sound, the guy that sounds like, oh, it's easy. I got done when I played, you should have seen. Yep. And I was like, God, I wasn't very good. And here I am sounding like this. This is awful. I got to shut up. I can't do this. And it wore me out. Like, I think I was on so much and I was trying to find new things to say. And it bothered me that I would sound like that, and I know the anxiety. I actually have a funny story. Well, I didn't find it funny at the time. I still don't find it that funny, but since I've never told it before, I'm going to tell you my version of it. Joe Buck makes an error on, and it might have been, I think it was the U.S. Open. I'm not sure. Joe can be a little bit of, a little soft. Okay. So he says something about one of the guy's girlfriends.
Yeah. Brooks Koepka. Yeah. Yep.
Right. You remember that?
Oh yeah.
Who turns out to not be Brooks Koepka's girlfriend. Right. So I text Joe and said, hey, FYI, Ray Lynn and I are still together, like making a joke that, we all make mistakes on the air. Gretzky texts Joe the exact same thing. Hully pulls up to the tree bar at Gaza Ranch and says, hey, he goes, poor Joe. And he says something. He says, I told him her name's Darcy if he was asking. So now 3 guys have taken a swing, all hockey players, of course, at Joe. And what does Joe do? Joe gets on a couple radio stations and whines that I've embarrassed him and took in this poor time in his life when he's made a mistake, and I've taken a swing at him and just crushed him because I said this. I know they did it because I'm reading their text messages. Okay. So, and here's Joe giving it to me, and I'm like, wait a second. Surely you're going to say Gretzky and Hull did it too, right? Nothing. So now I've got these radio stations calling me and said, hey, did you hear what Joe Buck said that you said that this? And I'm like, yeah, I'm not commenting on it. So it's been a few years. I think everyone's kind of over it now, but I had to, you're the first one I've told the story to other than Gretzky and Hull, who were laughing hysterically at him because they said the exact same thing I said. And of course, Joe didn't respond to either of them. He took a swing back at me, which swinging at me is not always the best idea either. So
no, that is not a good idea, Chaser.
Didn't work out real well either way for him. But just to be clear, I never really said anything because I was like, all right, you had a bad day. Everyone's had those on the air. Sure, there's a lot more people listening to you on the U.S. Open than there is NHL Network TV. But at the end of the day, it's just a mistake. You just move on.
It's not that big a deal. I mean, and Chaser, if you think about the mistakes that we made as a Fox golf team together, that was a small one. We were awful.
Oh, God. I remember listening to me on the air. I remember listening after I did a game on ESPN. And by the way, I have a great Jack Buck story. I went on the air on ESPN, and Mr. Buck came in, and he looked down at my notes, and he said, "What are these?" And I said, "Those are my notes, Mr. Buck." And he said, "Notes? What do you need notes for? Stick your head out the window and talk about the only thing you've done your whole life." And he took my papers and he folded them up, and he always wore a sport coat and looked so nice. And he put them in his pocket and he walked out of the booth. And I thought, Jesus, he's playing a joke on me because I've been preparing.
Gotta come back with, please bring those back, man. Come on.
I waited just long enough where he was gone and I couldn't find him. And then I'm looking at the AD going, "Go get me some notes, for Christ's sake. Go get me some notes." Like I had to see at least the score. So this kid ran and got me but he was right. Like he called me later. He goes, "Listen to you at the end, kid. You were great." And he just paid me this. He always made you feel good, you know?
Yeah, he did.
And he wanted me to know that you should be on the air talking about why something happened, because we don't know. I can tell you what happened because I watched it. The puck was shot at the goal and it was frozen by the goaltender. But I can't tell you why he didn't play it to a guy when he was open or why. And he was right. He was 100% right on what he was saying. Hey, tell us the things we don't know. Why did the guy leave the ice? Did his equipment break? Did this, what happened there on the play? So it was a great lesson, but I heard myself, as I said, early in my career, I heard a rerun of me playing. I would have fired me right after the game and said, "Okay, you stink. And thanks for coming and trying, kid, but run along." Because I just wasn't good.
Chaser, our first few shows that we did, this is my 6th year doing this. I said, "Is there any way that we can not let those get out?" I mean, that is the worst radio that's ever been done. It was so bad. Oh man, hopefully we've learned.
The beauty of it is the understanding of when to talk and when to listen. And there's a time for both in this. And, Gordie Howe's line of, hey, there's, you got one mouth and two ears for a reason. And lots of times you'll be doing an interview and it's good. And if a guy's continuing to talk, you might look down at your notes and go, "Man, he's answered 3 of these questions and I haven't had to ask him.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just going to leave him alone and keep learning more and I'll come up with a better question." And I think that's the art of the interview of how guys got better at it, because I can tell you, at the end of my career, I was sounding like a disgruntled ex-athlete, and I wasn't a very good hockey player. I was a really good athlete, but I wasn't I was just good at everything that I did. I was good at when it come to sports, but I wasn't great at it. And hockey was one of those sports where I really battled skating, and I really had to work at it, and I really had to. And every year when I came to camp, I always thought I wasn't sure if I was going to make the team. I always felt like, I always felt like I'm the last. I don't know if I'm going to make it. I don't know if I'm going to make it. I would count the players on the roster and go, "Okay, there's 23 people, 23, and I'm either 22 or 23. I'm not sure, but I can't be 24."
Yeah.
So, and you get a 3-year contract and it's a one-way contract, which means you're going to make the same amount of money in the NHL as you're going to make in the minors, which usually meant they're going to take more. They're going to give you more leeway when it came to watching you as a player than the guy that was going to make, $30,000 in the minors. They'll send him down because They don't have to pay them $130,000 in the minors. So I was probably getting more the benefit of the doubt, but I always felt like I was just the last guy. And I remember being at camp my first year and Twister spouting off about why we were there, and we're there to take each other's jobs, and we knew who these tough guys were, and we were there to take their job, and we weren't afraid of any of them, and we came from Saskatchewan, and we were the toughest team in the league, and we. And I read the paper in the morning, and I ran down looking for him at breakfast. I don't know who we is, but we got all these veteran players that are about ready to kill us when we go on the ice. Don't worry about it, buddy. We got it. We got it. And he was fearless. And he was intent on making the St. Louis Blues as a 19-year-old. We ended up going to Peoria, but Twister he had a healthy enough mind to think, let me tell you something. This is how this is going to work.
Chaser, I just finished watching Ice Guardians for the second time, and that movie, for the folks that don't know, that is all about the enforcers and the toughness that it takes to play in the NHL. How did you, the executive producer, talk a little bit about that and how that was such a cool movie? People need to check it out.
Yeah, you know what? That took a long time to make that movie, and it took a long time to get it right. And it was funny because my little cousin worked with this guy, and this guy wanted to do this movie, Adam Scorgi, who's won countless awards since then and is very, very, very talented. And she talked me into talking to him about doing a movie, and I just kept saying no. I said, I don't want to do this. Why? And I'm like, because the last one I tried to do was the one they ended up doing on Chris Chelios, and it was called The Code. And I would tell them something that I felt about how I felt about it, and they would write their own script anyway. So it was like, if it didn't fit the storyline, it didn't work. And I was more interested in saying, like, people that don't understand it or don't have any idea about it, like, let's talk to common folk and ask them their thoughts. And then I want someone who doesn't understand it at all to walk in, maybe not even hockey. I want them to walk into the theater, and I want them to watch this thing. And I want them to walk away from this thing and understand that role.
Yeah.
And go, man. And I want these guys to be beloved. And because they're doing something. They're the leaders of the entire pack. They're willing to sacrifice their own body for somebody else. And it's a lot like what, like now, and I know we're going to get to this part of the discussion about my health with leukemia, but a guy had asked me earlier if I felt like I was scared. And I said, yeah, I guess so. I guess I was scared. I don't really know. But I said, but then again, maybe not, because I fought my entire life for everybody else. So what, like fighting for my family, to stay alive for my family, or fighting just for me, that should be pretty easy, right? Like if you fought for your friends, every time you go to the playground, the parking lot, or the bar, you had to fight for one of your buddies, right? And you get to that point where you're in the upwards of 350 of them, okay? You start to look at things a little differently. You start to look at it like, you can tell when things are going to happen. You're pretty savvy to how this is all going to play out. And let me tell you, at the end of the day, it might not be the easiest thing to do. But then again, if someone was coming to fight with you to worry about my buddy or the girl that was standing beside my buddy or beside me or my wife or anybody, my sister, I don't have to worry about any of them. It's just me fighting for me. I got that because my whole life I've been fighting for my sister and my brother and my mother and my teammates. So that part of it's easy,
Chaser, I think the thing that has made so many people love and follow you is just that. Your whole life, you protected superstars. You laid it out on the line, just like the Ice Guardians talks about. And for folks that haven't seen that, it's these guys that are trying to protect the integrity of the game and not let these other opponents take cheap shots at the superstars. It's law and order on the ice. It's the players taking care of the game. It's the way they used to do in baseball, where you do that, you're going to get hit with a ball. That's just all there is to it.
Yeah, but listen, it's much of society now too. Like I'm standing in Walmart and I'm checking out. I'm in self checkout, and the guy rolls out the door with 2 full shopping carts of meat. And the manager looks and, oh, no, we can't go. We can't chase him out the door. I'm like, what do you mean? What are you doing? Go get your meat back. Like, guy just walked out with $2,500 worth of meat. And I end up in a fight in the parking lot with the guy trying to steal the meat, because it's okay. You can just walk out. Because, I don't know, when I grew up, I was afraid of my school teachers, the police, and my parents. And lo and behold, if I got home and they found out about the other 2 before I told them, all hell was to pay. And people go, oh, that's barbaric. We don't do that anymore. We rub our kids' ass and we sit them down and we talk to them. How's that working for us?
Yeah, not good.
How about we kick them in the ass and we put them to work for the next 2 weeks for acting like an ass, and then all of a sudden we got a respectful kid. And you know what? It's okay. And I'm not saying go and beat your kids until they listen. I'm just saying there has to be some repercussions, and there's not anymore. So in Ice Guardians, it was like, here we are now, we're asking the league to fine players for egregious hits. Well, how's that working? Like, it's not working. If I cross-check Steve Yzerman from behind into the net, I knew what the penalty was already. It was kosher and Probert.
Yeah.
I didn't need to. I didn't. Hello, Mr. Bettman. Yeah, I know I did that. Yes, sir.
I'll write you a check.
Okay. Right. It'll be $500.
Yeah.
Like, give me $5,000, whatever it is. No, that's not how it works.
Right.
You didn't. And guess what? Because I already knew what the penalty was, and it was those 2. I didn't do it.
Right. Here's
a news flash. I didn't do it.
You knew there was accountability out there.
100%. And listen to me. The St. Louis Blues won the Stanley Cup in 2019, and they bullied everyone out of the playoffs. And you can talk about, they were, this and this and this. They were everything. They played hard. They sacrificed. They blocked shots. They played hurt. Their coach was the best coach. All of the things you want to say and talk about, they were all of that. Okay. And guess what? We won the Stanley Cup, and we brought it home because that's how we played. And honestly, you can go about your business however you want to talk about it, but at the end of the day, it is exactly how it worked. So in Ice Guardians, when you hear a doctor talk about it, and you hear psychologists talk about it, and you hear people talk about how they actually have put people in rooms that are very similar type personalities, and how they performed, one as a comedian and one as a quiet person, and one as the enforcer and one as the leader. Well, it's exactly how life works. You get a lot of type A personalities. If you're going to have a leader, guys don't play in the NHL that aren't type A personalities. That's how you get there. There still has to be leadership, and there still has to be strong personalities. And when that happens and they come together like that, that's when you got a strong group. Okay. And that's when they're a dangerous group. And so, in Ice Guardians, I was trying to say, like, look, these guys sacrifice to win, and they'll sacrifice to not play sometimes, and even get suspended and get the league in their own pocketbook, because they want to make it easier for the other team to play. And then some guy will get on and go, I find that ridiculous. Well, of course you do, because you've never thrown a ball or picked up a stick or
been in a room with the other guys.
And the truth is it's not saying, well, you're just a nerd because you haven't done it. The truth is that you just don't understand it, and it's not your fault. You just don't understand it. You can't understand it because you've never been hit in the ribs with a pitch. You've never went in the corner and had somebody elbow you in the face on purpose. And I can go out. Pietrangelo made an interesting point last year. He said he knew where he was swinging his stick. He should have got however many more games than he got when he swung his stick and in the press. But Petro actually didn't know where his stick was going, because when you're playing and you're at that speed and you're at that talent and you're at that point of your life where the timing and everything about your game is in tune to where it is, you actually know that you can clip a guy in the back of the shins and catch him right above the skate where it's going to really hurt him. Or you're going to catch him above the elbow pad where it comes up just under his shoulder and catch him in the bicep on the bone and really hurt him. Or in the ribs just below his shoulder pads and above his pants and really hurt him. And anybody that thinks that those things don't happen and they're not purposeful out there, they just don't know. And so that's why Ice Guardians is put together, and yet, at the end, I'm emotional in it because I wish I would have been a little harder. Like, I wish I would have played a little harder. And people say, that's crazy. Like,
it's hard to imagine for us, Chaser. It's hard to imagine what that means.
Well, it just means, like, I wish I would have probably blocked more shots or slid in front of shots or allowed, because getting sick here and having leukemia and having the outreach of people that have reached out to me in my life, and I could never begin to write down all of the people that have text messaged me or made me feel good. I could never keep up with that group, but the brotherhood of people is unbelievable. And there was actually guys that I got text messages from that I was thinking, well, somebody's joking with me because it's come from a number I don't know, and they care, and it was from that guy, and they, I don't know, it's pretty interesting. It's an interesting documentary. It took a long time to do, and there was a lot of times where I had to explain 3 and 4 times to Adam Scorgi and Brett Harvey, who were like instrumental. I mean, they did the movie, but they had to. Their biggest problems sometimes were they thought it went on for one reason, and I would say that's not why it went on. Or there was actually a couple times where they're like, hey, we're going to get this guy on. And I'm like, no, we're not. What do you mean we're not? What do you mean? What are you talking about? He's a tough guy. Oh, he was tough when he fought, but he picked and chose who he fought.
You pick on the smallest guy. He never stood up against
Well,
Bob
not necessarily even the smallest guy. It was just sometimes it was the tough guy was like a boxer. He wanted to fight every 6 months. And that's not how guys operate. And that's not, and I'd be like, no, we're not. He's not. And if he's in the movie, I'm not calling any more of my guys on my Rolodex. And they'd look at each other like, come on. And I'd say, no, honestly, you guys, because they didn't need me. They needed me to tell my story, and they needed to understand it better, because Adam was a really tough guy who grew up in a tough environment with the Hells Angels, and he's no joke. And a boxer, Gold Glove boxer, and an unbelievable producer. Okay, he's done some great movies. Look at The Good Son. He did the Boom Boom Mancini. Documentary. He's just done some phenomenal movies, but he had to understand from me a little bit too that some of these guys were maybe not as stand up as you might think. Came across, and then of course, look, playing in a certain hockey environment can make the legend grow too. If you happen to play for the Leafs, you can get blown up. Like it's like playing for the Yankees. You can be larger than life when the truth is you couldn't play in Boston. They'd run you out of town, or Philly or St. Louis, because we were tough. And listen, my last few years when Twist was there and Postchick was there, and that, there's nobody in the league tougher than our team. Like there wasn't. And our guys would sit. They tell you that they get traded and go, oh my God, Vancouver, is this miserable? Oh, you should see us get run when we go to Philly. We did that stuff. Buffalo was tough. St. Louis, Twister knocked the hell out of Rob Ray. Poor Rob's busted orbital cheekbone, the whole works. They'd come into town and say, hey, you two, just leave us alone tonight. We're going to be fine. And they just sleep through the game. And, I mean, I'm telling you, there was times where we would play a game and Al McInnes could go up and down the ice 27 times and not have anybody touch him. And if you think that isn't true, watch those old games. Or watch when Twist and I weren't in the lineup, because I can tell you, and people are like, yeah, but they don't even play in the playoffs. He got to the playoffs in the shape that he was in because he kept himself in phenomenal shape, and Tony Twist was on the bench making sure that nobody took advantage of Al. Yep. So Al got to play as hard as he could in the playoffs at 36, because two guys were making sure that if you laid a stick on Al McInnes, their entire bench was going to feel the wrath of it. And that's how it works. But then you get some doctor on with a psychology degree that'll tell you that's not how it works, because apparently he knows better than us. And, Brett Hull's one of the toughest guys I've ever played with. He took a beating to score those goals. Aluminum sticks pounded on him. Like, toughness is in your mind. I've heard before, fear is afraid. Fear is afraid of you too, Like when you turn around and say, this is going to be a bad deal because this guy's tough. And then the next time you do it, you're a little bit wiser and a little bit better at it. And pretty soon people start going, this kid's really got some jam and he's not afraid of much. And pretty soon it's behind you. And pretty soon you're 27 years old and you're thinking to yourself, Jesus, I've been in, however many fights. I don't know. I had 46 one year in junior. So let's say I've been in let's just say at the point I'm 27 and I've been in 250 fights. You start saying to yourself, well, I've been in 250 of them. And okay, here's the worst three things that have happened in 250 fights. And geez, I got through all of that. You know what? I'll be all right. Yeah. And then at 29, you start thinking, I'm going to win every one of these things because you start thinking I'm the toughest guy in this league. Once you have that mindset, it doesn't change. Right. It doesn't change because it doesn't change if you're in real estate. The bigger the deal and you close it, it's like, I'm closing that. I'm going to do that. And that's your cup win that year, or that's your playoff round win, or your goal that you scored, or whatever it is. But, I think that lots of times, if you don't clear that, if you don't stop and turn around on fear once in a while, man, that's a tough way to live.
It really is. It really is. Dealing with fear, dealing with this illness, Chasers, is, how has it changed you? How has it changed your perspective? I hear you talk about the word grateful so often now when I watch you and I hear you.
Well, I miss my kids. They're, I got one here working now that came home, and it's really Will, who is taking charge of our household basically when I was sick, and Ben, who's at ASU playing, and Luke, who's playing up in Canada. And Luke, playing juniors, still got some decisions to make on where he's going to play college hockey. And I'm grateful that I have, a family and the brotherhood of sports. And I'm not just going to say hockey because I've heard from you, I've heard from everybody from, football players to basketball players, which is weird because I was really not a basketball guy, to Lance Armstrong, listen, the brotherhood of sports, okay, not just hockey. But if I just specify hockey, I don't know how you could be and have that many people care. It's unbelievable. And then on top of it all, like, I have this sense of, I've always had a platform to be able to help people because of hockey. So I've always tried to do my best to be at events and say thank you to the fans, and support St. Louis and support the fans, support charities, whatever. But here I am now, right? And I'm in this situation where able to help so many more people. I'm able to the platform of cancer is much larger than the platform of young hockey players, okay? Because cancer doesn't pick and choose. It doesn't matter how tough you are, how big you are, it can get you. So for me, I think being in the hospital and being able to stop into rooms and talk to people because the doctor said, hey, it might be a good idea, swing by and talk to this young kid, or this guy here is having a struggle. He's got a lot of blue stuff up in his room, and you go by and you meet the guy and you talk to the guy and he's struggling, and it turns out he's got a family, and you have a conversation with him, and while he's struggling, and you say, well, how do you run in a burning building and try and save all those lives and you not fight for your family right now? Come on, man, let's go. And it feels good that you can help people, because I think it's a reason for you not to be married to your bed while you're in the hospital. But it also gives you a different platform where you can help people and not feel sorry for yourself. Because, hey, let me tell you, there's times where you're in there, you're down on one knee saying, why me? Right? But you have to get it in your head that tomorrow's going to be better. And that's how you have to focus, and that's how you have to.
And that's what mental toughness is, Chaser, right there.
That's mental toughness.
That's mental toughness right there.
Yep.
It's not when it's 80 outside and blue skies and everything is rosy. It's when it's raining, man, and you're in a valley.
I remember being a kid, and I know where I grew up. I had a lot of guys that played in the NHL from where I'm from, which is crazy because there's 1,000 people in my hometown, and you have 9 guys that play in the NHL. So, I mean, when you drive into town, it's welcome to Canada's hockey factory, and yet, if you were to tell somebody you were going to play in the NHL when you were a kid, they look at you like you had 3 heads.
Yeah, they'd laugh you. They'd laugh at you.
Yeah, just laugh at you. Yeah, you and the other, 400 that are down at the rink who said the same thing. But the truth is, I really thought I was going to play in the NHL. And then when I was starting to, when you get to an age where there's very little separation between you and another guy that's an average player, and you start to have to do things. I tell my kids this all the time. What are you doing when no one's watching? That's what's going to separate you. Okay. So what I was trying to do when nobody was watching, and it seemed silly at the time, but it was probably the stuff that made a difference for me. Whereas, where I hit a heavy bag, or where I would work out in a garage where the door was closed, no one knew I was riding. Those assault bikes, they call them assault bikes now. Those were Wyndhams when I was a kid, and they were the same damn bike. They were just $1,000 cheaper, and I had one of them, and I had it in my garage, and I rode it, and I would ride it with my arms only, so that I was stronger. So when I fought, I could fight longer, and when I shot pucks, I was shooting against the barn door, and just stuff like that, that I don't know if it's making you, but it was the stuff I knew I was doing that other people weren't doing that were the same as me. Whether that made me push me ahead of them a little bit, maybe, I don't know. But in my mind, I was going to take, I went to camp my first year, and Todd Ewan and Herb Raglan were the only guys that I thought about in my head. Those 2 guys were the 2 guys that I wanted to take their jobs, because they were 2 tough right wingers, both of those guys. And they both could fight. They were both tough. They both played in the league. They were close to my age. So when I came to training camp, I wasn't thinking about, oh, Dave Richter's really tough on defense, and they brought in Dave Richter to be tough. And on Craig Cox, I couldn't care about Craig Cox. I would have fought Craig Cox in 10. Well, I did in 10 seconds. But I'm like, I was concentrating on beating two guys out of one spot because I wanted one seat on the bus.
Yep.
And it was Herb Ragland and Todd Ewan. And those were the two guys that I thought about all summer. And every time I did a drill, I thought about those two guys and how am I going to get ahead of those two guys? Because that's one of the jobs I want.
Jason, that is amazing. So let's talk about puck cancer. April 5th, Centene Ice Center. Man, have we got a star-studded group. You got Dirks Bentley, man. Our boy Dirks is coming in not to sing and play guitar. He's going to be on the ice.
Oh, yeah, he's good. We got him doing everything. Yeah, Dirk, he's great. He's up at Gaza Ranch with us, too, so he got sucked in. Trevor Rosen and I have been out on the town a few times, so when Old Dominion comes to town, they don't get much of him the night before. It's usually me and him figuring out how to find a watering hole and staying there and telling the same stories. And then I phoned Garth and I asked if possibly he would mind autographing a guitar for me and doing a meet and greet if he was in town. And he said, when's the event? And then I told him, he said, I wouldn't miss it. He goes, whatever you need, buddy. I'm there, whatever you need. And I said, well, I actually need you to play goal for Team NHL. He said, you can have anything but that. What else do you need?
I'll put my guitar in there, man. I'm not getting in front of that puck. No dang way. That's beautiful.
So anyways, Garth's going to come and he's going to coach. And he's going to do a meet and greet after he's through his agreement with Caesars. He's not allowed to sing, but we'll have him there for a meet and greet, and he'll meet all the people in the VIP area. So if you have VIP tickets, you'll have a chance to stand and talk with them. And then we have Coach Payton from the Broncos, who's one of my close buddies, and Coach is he's coming in. He's trying to play in the game. Rumor has it he got blocked off 8 sheets of ice for 8 weeks to skate. And I don't know if he's skating with like Jason Graham, who's one of the guys with Teammates for Kids with Garth, or Jason was a goalie and played here with the St. Louis Sting, if you'll remember that.
I do remember the St. Louis Sting.
And then I don't know if Coach is skating in Denver or what the hell he's doing, but he's for sure going to be coaching him and Granado. Coach Quenville's coming back, which is about time. If the league had a clue, they'd have him back in the league already. And then who else we got? Hully will be on the bench barking, so that'll be some good orders. Brendan Shanahan's coming back.
Chris Chelios.
Chelly's going to play, so there'll be Boo and Chelly, who's a guy that I happen to love now. I hated him as a Hawks, and I love him. Eddie Belfour's going to play. And then who else?
It's going to be, I mean, there's going to be St. Louis Blues hanging from all over the place.
There's 80 former players going to be at the event. So for me to start giving you the list, I couldn't.
No, you're good. Chaser, how can folks get involved? Where can they buy tickets?
Ticketmaster. Yeah, go to Ticketmaster. I'm not sure. I believe there may only be general admission standing room left or VIP tickets. The VIP tickets are $500. Don't be scared off by it. It's going to be worth it. We've got a house band. Craig Nienhuis, who's played in stadiums, going to be the house band. He's going to be out on. We've got the Canadian Pipers. They're going to be out on the ice pipe, and they're going to do a Hallelujah and Amazing Grace, the 2 unbelievable videos that we have for honoring the past, which is our Alumni Association motto. And then we're going to have it's going to Siteman's Cancer Institute to research, strictly to research. And one of the things I should mention on there, Darren Kimball, who's an alumni, called me 4 days into my chemo and was emotional, and he didn't make it on the parade route and didn't get on the float, and found out 2 days earlier prior to our parade that he had leukemia, and never told anybody. And it's going to be 4 years this year.
Wow.
That he's not told anybody. And for me, I was dumbfounded. Like, I was dumbfounded, but I was also like disappointed in him. And each person goes through it in their own way, obviously. But for him to suffer for 3.5 years without having us guys that were that care so much about him is saying a lot. He's got so many guys in the league that love him and thought he was a great teammate, that he'll be a part of it. And his daughter's singing the anthem, and his son's going to play in the game. And I'm just grateful that he's playing, and that his son's playing, and that he's going to be a part of it. Because, listen, man, I told you before, this leukemia guy's tough. There's no joke with this guy. He's tough. He fights with both hands. He can take a punch. I might have him in remission right now, but we're not taking any chances. I'm shaking off the right elbow pad, and I'm about to knock his teeth out right here next month on April 7th. I go in for my last round of chemo, but it's no joke. It's a tough deal, and it really puts families on their heels. And I can tell you, as tough as you think you are, this can put you on your heels for a minute or two. So I'm proud of my ex-teammate Darren Kimball, and I'm happy to say that I'm lucky enough to be in remission right now. But for those people out there that are hoping for a better tomorrow, we're going to try and give you that by having this game and supporting and filling in some of these gaps that are needed for research for Siteman's, and the Jimmy V Foundation is going to help with that as well.
Jay, sir, thank you so much for the time. Thanks for all you do. I know this leukemia guy's a visitor, and he's going to be out of here in no time if he's not already out of here.
I appreciate you, buddy. Take care, and call me anytime.
That was the Front Nine on Golf with Jay Delsing, presented by the Ascension Charity Classic. We're halfway home, and next, we'll make the turn.
Powers Insurance and Risk Management is a family-owned local business that's been helping our community for over 200 years. In the always confusing world of insurance, Powers Insurance provides clarity, exceptional service, and the latest in cutting-edge products to deliver the highest quality in property and casualty coverage, as well as strategic planning consultation services. Powers Insurance and Risk Management will partner with you. That's right, they'll partner with you to customize the right coverage for you and your family. Tim Davis, Chief Operating Officer, will personally sit down and talk you through the ins and the outs of your policies. They are experts at helping you control your workplace expenses, helping to guarantee the safety that you and your employees need. You can visit them at powersinsurance.com. That's powersinsurance.com for all your insurance needs.
This is Chris Nagel. And you're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing.
Do you remember the golden rule? I'm sure you do, but just in case, it goes like this. Treat people the way that you'd like to be treated. At People's National Bank, that one statement is the cornerstone of what this bank is all about. Locally owned, with 23 locations in Southern Illinois and the metropolitan St. Louis area, People's National Bank parlays a robust menu of commercial or personal banking services you could possibly need with a friendly yet hardworking Midwestern attitude. Maybe you just want to do business with a bank whose entire team lives in the same neighborhoods as we do. If you're like me and doing business with someone you trust is important to you, then People's National Bank is the bank for you. Jason Rantham, local president, is here for you to call, and he'll answer any questions you may have. His personal cell is 314-974-2243. You can also find us online at peoplesnationalbank.com. People's National Bank is here for all of your banking needs.
Family Golf and Learning Center. No matter your age or skill level, Family Golf and Learning Center, located in Kirkwood, has something for you. They've got it all. PGA and LPGA instruction, double-decker driving range, par 3 golf course, TrackMan simulators, a large short game green design to help you with all your shots around the green, bunkers, rough, and Zoysia fairway pitching. And now open, the Tahoma Bermuda Grass Tees, the best turf to hit from in St. Louis. It's all at Family Golf and Learning Center. To schedule a lesson or to find out more, visit FamilyGolfOnline.com. That's FamilyGolfOnline.com. Family Golf and Learning Center. We make St. Louis better at golf.
Redbird Heating and Cooling sponsors the Veterans Vocational Apprentice Program. Jed Dickinson, a retired Navy man, will teach, mentor, and sign off on educational and mechanical work hours to help you get fully licensed while you work and get paid by the company. What a great way to launch your career as a fully licensed HVAC specialist. Call Redbird Heating and Cooling today at 314-320-9507. That's Redbird Heating and Cooling.
This is Golf with Jay Delsing. The Back Nine is presented by Pro-Am Golf, located in Brentwood. See what Pro-Am Golf can do for you.
Golf with Jay Delsing on an Easter Sunday here on 101 ESPN is always presented by Daugherty Business Solutions and coming to you from the Car Shield Studios. I'm Dan McLaughlin. That's Jay Delsing. Jay, to be commended on the interview there with Kelly. That was heartfelt and wonderful.
Oh, Danny, thanks. Well, you know, we've known Kelly for a long time, as we said, and he's just he's instant offense. He's so authentic, you know, leads with his heart, and he's meant a lot to the community for a long, long time, and it was just great to get him. I don't know if you've ever seen him play golf. It's not pretty.
It's not pretty?
No, I love making sure that he knows that.
I'm sure he does. Are there parallels at all that you see with hockey players and golfers? Because hockey players love golf. A lot of golfers love hockey. But are there parallels in the sport, especially on the mental side, that you see?
Oh, Danny, for sure. I mean, that's what Kelly was talking a little bit about. You know, I don't know how you guys do it where, you know, it's all this concentration, and it's kind of the same way. You know, if you're not into the game when you're not on the ice, by the time you get on the ice, this game's going to pass you right by.
Sure.
And think about how you might have let your teammates down or something. So even though you're not playing, you're still into it. You're paying attention to what's going on. You know the game plan. You know how you're trying. Let's say you're playing against Ovechkin or someone like that, and you know you're game planning against him. It's like, look, he's not going to beat us. You know, we're gonna do whatever we can to prevent this. And so that is a huge part of it. It's really similar to, Danny, to, well, all the sports. I mean, you played sports at a high level. We had Chris Carpenter on the show, and he talked about getting rid of the junk. But, you know, when you're playing sports at its highest level, you can't afford those lapses. The other team, the game, whatever it is, it's so difficult, whether it's the golf. You know how hard the golf course is. Just don't commit to one shot, and the thing will wing somewhere, and you'll make a double bogey before you know it, and you bought the farm.
You're telling me that one of the most renowned sports psychologists, in particular, specifically for golf, Bob Rotella.
Yes.
And he's changed a lot of people over the years.
Oh, my gosh, Danny, he is the guy in the world of golf, still is. Works with Rory. He worked with Ernie Els. He's worked with Nick Price, Brad Faxon, Tom Kite. The list goes on and on and on. Padraig Harrington. And
Jay Delsing.
Yep, I got a chapter in his book.
Oh, yeah.
I tried to set modern psychology back 100 years. I did the best. I'm like, you're thinking that? No, but it's amazing. And there's sports psych guys almost in every single sport. Rattel has actually worked with the Chicago Cubs for a while. He worked with Greg Maddux for a while because just trying to get your mind right. And when you're trying to accomplish something so difficult like winning on the PGA Tour or winning a national championship, a World Series, whatever it is, Danny, here's a great example. Kerry Davis, our buddy and world Super Bowl champion with the Pittsburgh Steelers, talks about I don't care about football, golf. My mind was way more important than my body was. I needed my body, but man, I needed my mind. I needed to know what I was doing. This linebacker comes in, this blitz comes here, this, that, the other play. I need to know my role. And when sometimes on a team, you can not be focused and be playing right field, for example, and the ball doesn't get hit to you. But you and I both know that somehow or another, it seems like almost always, and I've heard you say this 1,000 times on your great broadcasts, was when that ball finds you.
The ball will find you.
The ball, and you put that shortstop out in right field, and that ball finds him, and somehow or another, that's the purity of the game, and it's just amazing how that works.
Why did you go to him? Was it putting? Was it short irons? Was it chipping? Did you have the yips?
I didn't know if I didn't have the yips. I was trying to deal with the mental, the entire mental side off the course, and it was starting to affect on me.
And I don't want to get too deep into this.
No, you're totally fine. Okay. I have no trouble. What it is that you start dealing with these negative thoughts, and your mind is accommodating. So that old adage, don't think about a pink flamingo. You have to identify a pink flamingo in your mind to know not to think about it. So your brain doesn't know knots. Like if you don't go right, you either go straight right with your tee shot, or you hit it so far left, you might as well hit it right. Because it's all about programming your mind, setting out what it is you want, and dealing with the fear. And as I got better and better, there was more fear because I was closer to achieving some of these goals. I was starting to become a regular. I played on tour every year, and I started feeling more pressure and feeling. All of a sudden, like, oh man, I don't want to lose my card. Now I have children. Now, and it just gets to be a lot. And he helped me understand that you can control your mind, and you can choose what thoughts you give energy to and which ones you don't. And it's some of the stuff, when I was really good, I was amazed at how nervous I was and how calmly I was able to go through it. Now, it always changes. Some days were better than others, right? Just because we're human. But I can remember sometimes being so nervous and playing such good golf, and I hadn't really been through the, playing in the last group before, and wondering, man, am I going to shoot 75 or am I going to shoot 65? Things like that. And then going through it and maybe not shooting 65, but shooting 67 and finishing second or third, and you're going, wow. When you're the last group on the course, Danny, it's it's
thrilling, isn't it?
Yeah, Danny, and the tournament doesn't end until I get in. Our groups, this thing, we may not be winning the championship. We might be, we may not be, but it can't end till we're in. And so everybody's got to wait for us to get, it's just a cool thing.
I would imagine that a sports psychologist in golf, if you're looking for the physical aspect that they're trying to help a golfer with, correct me if I'm wrong, but it comes down to putting. So many guys get the yips, or they have issues with their hands. They have an issue maybe completing a putt.
Yeah.
Am I right in that?
Oh, 100%, because and it's also tougher, D, right? Because you're standing on the tee and you're trying to put this little white ball into a 35-yard wide fairway. There's lots of room out there. Now, I'm not saying they're easy to hit, and I miss plenty of them. But when you start putting, now that same size ball's going into a 4.5-inch area. Now, there's no room for it. And, by the way, the ball's round and the hole's round. What could possibly go wrong with that, right? I mean, ask Wyndham Clark at the TPC. Just crazy stuff, Danny. I was brought up, my dad, being a professional baseball player, taught me hardest thing in the world was to hit a baseball, round bat, round ball. Makes no sense, and just those surfaces don't add up. It's hard to square those up.
In terms of watching Full Swing, we touched upon this last week. Were you most intrigued with Wyndham Clark, having gone through some of the things that he was trying to work on the mental side?
I was. I really was. And I was fascinated by his resistance initially, and then even more fascinated by the results. And then I was incredibly disappointed when a couple of weeks later he comes out and says, I'm kind of with Rory. I think we should lower the number of players on the tour. And I'm like, come on, bro. 2 years ago, you'd be out then. We wouldn't even have your story. You wouldn't have won the U.S. Open. You couldn't be one of these great, rags to riches sort of stories.
Ryder Cup.
Come on.
Yeah.
That was incredibly. I don't get that, Danny. I don't. Look, you can have your opinion, whatever. But, I mean, you just experienced going from he was outside the top 100 in the world to winning the U.S. Open. Come on, man. If you do what you're saying, then the guys outside the top 100 don't get a chance, and you never would have. And how do you not have empathy for those guys that believe they're that good? They just haven't quite matched it up yet.
I want to get maybe some advice from you for parents that are listening. We have a lot of parents that listen to this show that have youngsters that play the game of golf, and they say, well, my kid is in high school. Do I really need a sports psychologist for him? It's not the worst thing, is it?
No, it's not, Denny. It creates great habits, and it's when you're younger, you're much more likely to take it on. When you get older, like we heard Wyndham Clark, Joel Damon, how about him? He's like, I'm not going. And then he finally agreed to go with all the crazy
and then he won $600K a couple weeks ago.
How about that?
Yep. Paid off for that.
T11 at the Players, and he and Gino made $650,000. Danny, I was texting Gino the other day, and I said, man, because they agreed to come on the show, and I'm like, you guys are getting so big, I don't know if he'll come on the show. He hadn't texted me back since then. I don't know what to think, but you're absolutely right. I mean, and when you said about putting and sports psychologists, because so often it comes down to putting, because that's closing the deal. You think about these guys, Danny, on the PGA Tour. They can go 620 yards in 2 shots, and then sometimes it takes them 3 to go the last 30 feet. That's crazy on your brain.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's difficult.
That's Jay Delsing. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Happy Easter, everyone. We want to get to your emails that have been coming in all week, and some of those this morning while we've been doing the show. Jay@jdelsinggolf.com. Again, it's Jay@jdelsinggolf.com. Email segment, our final segment, coming up next on Golf with Jay Delsing.
This has been the Back Nine, presented by Pro-Am Golf. Next, it's the Teacher's Corner. Golf tips from a PGA Tour professional are coming up.
Hey, Jay Delsing here, and I know I speak for all of we golfers. We're always looking to try to improve our game. For me, that means I go to one place, and that one place is Pro-Am Golf in Brentwood. Tom DeGrand opened his family business in 1975 with a goal of providing St. Louis with the finest in golf equipment, instruction, and technology. Whether you need a new rangefinder, your first set of clubs, or anything else you can think of, Pro-Am Golf has just what you're looking for. If you're a scratch handicap or you carry a 20 handicap, come visit Pro-Am Golf and inquire about a lesson from Tom DeGrand. He's been fixing golf swings and making St. Louis better at golf for over 40 years. Go get your gear, lessons, or anything golf-related where I go, and that's Pro-Am Golf in Brentwood. You can also visit them online at Pro-Am Golf USA. That's ProAmGolfUSA.com. It's Pro-Am Golf, proud sponsor of the Golf with Jay Delsing show.
Hello, friends. This is Jim Nance, and you are listening to Golf with my friend Jay Delsing.
Hey, this is Jay Delsing for SSM Health Physical Therapy. Our golf program has the same screening techniques and technology as the pros on the PGA Tour use. SSM Health Physical Therapy has the Titleist Performance Institute trained physical therapists that can perform the TPI screening on you, as well as use the K-Vest 3D motion capture system. Proper posture, alignment, etc. can help you keep your game right down the middle. We have 80 locations in the St. Louis area. Call 800-518-1626 or visit them on the web at ssmphysicaltherapy.com. Your therapy, our passion.
For the best in Italian cuisine in St. Louis, look no further than Paul Manno's, located in Chesterfield. It's traditional Italian cooking, and their best ingredient, It's their tradition. It's cooking like Paul's grandmother used to make and like his mother still prepares today. There are no corners cut at Paul Mano's. From greeting you at the door to the pasta you'll share with your family, Paul Mano's is committed to bringing you their very best anytime you share a meal at their place. It's Paul Mano's, located in Chesterfield.
Are you driving an out-of-warranty car? It's only a matter of time before your out-of-warranty vehicle is in the shop costing you thousands of dollars. Auto repair costs are up nearly 20% from last year, which is 4 times the rate of inflation. If an unexpected breakdown happened today, would you be ready for that? Well, now you can be with a plan through CarShield. Even if your car is just over 3 years old, it's still prone to expensive costs. Your car is more than just getting you from point A to point B. Traveling by car is a way of life. From picking up your kids to going to a new restaurant, cars are a daily essential. When you enroll in a car protection plan through CarShield, you can look forward to the following. The price will never go up no matter how many claims you file, or no matter how high the mileage on your car increases. CarShield offers protection plans that start as low as $100 per month. That's $100 per month. They have repair coverage for up to 5,000 different parts of your vehicle. Plus, when your car breaks down and you're stuck on the side of the road, you get 24/7 coast-to-coast roadside assistance. You also get complimentary towing and rental car options. CarShield has my back when my car breaks down, and they can have yours too. Call CarShield today at 800-465-6550 or visit carshield.com. It's CarShield, proud sponsor of the Golf with Jay Delsing show.
Hey, St. Louis, Eddie McVeigh here from Maggie O'Brien's. When you head downtown for a concert or Cards or Blues game, and now for the St. Louis City soccer game, please come see us at Maggie O'Brien's before and after your event. Take our shuttle to and from, or stay in-house and watch your favorite team on our multiple high-def TVs. We look forward to seeing you soon at one of our 2 locations in Sunset Hills on South Lindbergh or downtown at the corner of Market and 20th Street. Union Station is next to us.
Daugherty Business Solutions has been enhancing the business of our customers for the last 37 years. How do we do it? Through our expertise in technology, better use of data and analytics, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. We roll up our sleeves and collaborate. We build applications and effectively communicate with our partner clients to bring their goals and objectives to the finish line. Our award-winning Access Point program is a community game changer. With nearly 100 students in the program, mostly young African-American females are making between $55,000 and $60,000 per year right out of high school. That's right, $55,000 to $60,000 a year right after high school graduation. That's when they begin their training. CEO Ron Daugherty believes the talent is equally distributed, but access to that opportunity is not. So here's Access Point, providing more and more opportunity for those in and around our community. It's Daugherty Business Solutions.
This is the Teacher's Corner. It's time to get a lesson from a PGA Tour professional. To submit a question, log on to jdelsinggolf.com. Let's get back to Jay and Dan.
Final segment on Golf with Jay Delsing on Easter Sunday. Glad that you're with us here on 101 ESPN, coming to you from the CarShield studios, and as always, presented by Daugherty Business Solutions. The emails come in, jay@jdelsinggolf.com. And we start with Mike. Wants to know about getting fitted for clubs because the weather is turning. Guys, heard you talking about that earlier in the show. So weather turning, help me. Do I get fitted for clubs?
Absolutely. Mike, get fitted for clubs. You got to call Tom DeGran and his team over at Pro-Am Golf. They're a great source for that. So is Adam Betts, Family Golf Center. They are rocking it down there and doing Adam things that are only good for everybody that plays the game of golf. So, yeah, Mike, it's crucially important, depending on your size, how much speed you have in your golf game, there are definitely things that can help you play better. And one of the things, Danny, that we talk about all the time is making sure your set fits your game. You know what I mean? If let's say you don't like to hit irons. I'm just making this up, but let's say you don't like to hit irons. They've got hybrids now, and they've got 8 woods and 10 woods and things like that, where we can figure stuff out for you where you might, your longest iron in your bag might be a 7-iron. That's not that big a deal.
I always find it interesting when someone says, well, for Christmas or my birthday, I got a set of clubs. And I'm thinking to myself, that's great, but are they fit for you? So it doesn't matter.
I know. And oftentimes, you have well-intended children, spouses, like, we got to get dad some new golf clubs. I'm going to get my boyfriend. And it's like, get him a gift card. Get them a gift card so they can go in and get those things custom fit for them. And folks, and I think, Danny, I saw this in one of our questions earlier, but your putter needs to be fit for you as well. How many times, Danny, have I said to you, look at that guy putting over there. He'll putt, and folks, I'll see the toe of the putter sticking up in the air and his hands will be super low. Or I'll see the heel of the putter sticking up in the air and his hands will be really high. And I'm like, look, I don't care where your hands are, but you can have the putter made to fit you. Don't just, it's a slight little bend. Your pro or whomever is at the golf facility, wherever you are, will take care of that for you. It's either going to be free or crazy inexpensive, but do not let the putter.
So you do your whole bag and not do the putter.
No, don't. I mean, look, a taller guy like me is going to want the putter a little more upright and a little, so it's going to be maybe 72-degree lie angle. Somebody that's shorter and flatter might want a 70. All that's fine, but these putters will roll the ball better. You'll hold more putts if the putter is sitting flat on the surface. You're just going to strike putts more solidly. Just makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Amy wants to know at j@jdelsinggolf.com. Best way to get my kids involved in golf. Just simply put, what's the best way to do it?
Oh, my gosh, Amy, take your kids to Family Golf and Learning Center. Take them there and get a bucket of balls. There's rental clubs down there, and take them to Top Golf. Take them to Top Golf. Is super fun, Amy.
Let them whack it, right?
Yeah, it's more like a video game. You rent the clubs right there. They play little games for you. They keep score for you. It's almost like bowling except for golf. There's all sorts of different little action type areas you can hit your ball to, get more points, less points. Do anything. Take them to putt and let them get a sense for like what it's like to roll a putt across a putting green. Amy, anything you do, one of your kids, you just don't ever know when they may take to it.
Let's say Brian here. He has at j@jdelsinggolf.com. Guys played in the rain this past week. Do you advise using gloves on both hands?
Brian, that's a great question. The rain gloves are awesome. I got to tell you a story. Before COVID, my corporate entertainment business was thriving, and I took a group to Bandon Dunes. It was the coolest trip, Danny. We had a private plane. We picked up I flew Southwest to Denver.
Now, hold on here. If we go back to full swing, you said, I never did the private planes.
That wasn't on tour. This is just like, I did. I've been on a couple of private planes, not nearly enough. If anybody out there has a private plane and wants to come pick me up, let's go play.
And I'm going to be, I'll be
You
Jay's
can come
caddy.
with me. You can come with me. Yeah, we'll grab your clubs too. But so we picked up our customers in Denver. I flew Southwest to Denver, got on this beautiful jet, flew right into Bandon, had our cars waiting for us. We had Airbnbs. Danny, we went out and played Bandon Dunes. We played Pacific Dunes, and we played one other course, maybe Trails. But on one of the days, the heavens opened up. And I looked at the guys and said, guys, we've come a long way. If you want to keep playing, I'm in. If you want to go in, I'm in. Don't worry about me. You all decide. So they're like,
We're
no
playing.
way, man. We're playing. It was top 3 worst days I've ever played.
Is that
so
right?
So the wind is blowing 30, okay, right on the water, and it is raining sideways. It is buckets, D. So I got my rain gloves on, and I've never seen this before. I'm standing over my tee shot on 18, and I mean, my hat's not even making the trip back. My hat is going inside and in the trash because it's gotten so wet. The bills of my cap is like paper mache. It's like it has no form left. I'm looking down. Water is pouring off the bill of my hat, and on my right hand, so I always wear a glove on my left. I got a rain glove on my left. Now and they're black, and I got a black rain glove on my right, and water is pouring down into my gloves. So inside the gloves, and I'm like, I still might throw this club. I still might lose track of this club. And I swung as hard as I could, and I hit it about 180, and we were looking at each other. We were laughing. And we got finished and went in and we filled up I think we were the only group out there. Everybody else had said, no way. We were like, what the hell? We're on 13. We'll just play the last 6. And we were drenched. We smell, that damn. And we had all our rain gear off, piled in the corner. We had a couple of great servers that are come piling food us. We were starving, had a couple of cocktails. Oh, it was cold and wet, but it was at Bandon Dunes, and so we kept on keeping on.
So the 2 gloves, I guess, would be comfort level in that particular instance for you, but for a lot of people, do you advise that?
Oh, absolutely, I do. Especially, and in fact, I've got 2 rain gloves in my bag at all times because if you've got a caddy and he knows what he's doing, he or she knows what he's doing, you can keep stuff dry. And you always see the guys on tour will put a towel on the inside part of their umbrella and always designate one towel that's this is for my hands and maybe for my grips, and that's it. And usually on the PGA Tour, D, if it's raining that hard, we're going to get standing water, because the greens are that firm. We're going to get standing water. But when you're playing, it's your Muni and you've already paid your $40 and you get a hot dog and a beer with it, you're going to probably keep going. So I love the rain gloves.
At what point on the PGA Tour, outside of lightning, will they say, okay, that's enough?
When there's standing water on the greens and you can't roll, or fairways, and there's just nowhere to go.
So Caddyshack is out the window.
Caddyshack's out the window. The good Lord, we're not on my favorite day. Yeah, that's the best.
I'm having my best day.
It's like, I'm not a bishop. My name is Frank. That was so good. So good. Yeah, that's usually what it's like. Some places, when we used to play, Danny, down in New Orleans, we'd get 4 or 5 inches of rain. They'd call us off, and we'd be playing an hour and a half later because it would drain so well.
Yeah.
Some of those places just are used to getting a boatload of water, and thing just dries right up. But not every place is like that.
Hospitality business, are you back in the game, or what are you doing?
Well, I'm getting a lot of calls lately. I told you that off the air. It's really unusual. COVID has absolutely whacked that business, but I've got a call. Someone may want a trip over to Europe, which would really be super cool. And then I got a couple of, I just called Whistling Straits the other day. That's a beautiful place to go. Yeah, so there's some action. The world might be coming back. Not everybody has to work from home, and we might get to go on golf trips again.
Do I get any of this action?
Sure, come on.
Yeah, I swear, I would just be. I'll just drag your bag around. I'll just be your caddy.
Just throw a couple of your clubs in there and go, Danny, you're on. You're on the tee.
That would not be pretty.
Oh my gosh, it'd be so much fun.
Do you prefer, and we're going to wrap it up with this, do you prefer on a trip, though, would you rather play, would you want to go to Europe and play something that you hardly ever play, or would you rather take your clients and say, let's go play Whistling Straits? I'm very familiar with it. Or go to Belle Reve or something like that.
It all depends on the client. Everybody's got an opinion, D. It's so interesting. So this trip to Europe, we sat down and we talked about it, and they said, what would you recommend? I go, you got to go to St. Andrews. And I'm just going to tell you, St. Andrews is probably going to be the worst course we play.
Interesting.
It is, but it's the home of golf, man. You got to see it. All the history, Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, John Daly, Tiger Woods. You got to walk across the Swilkern Bridge and you got to play it.
Yeah.
And then Kings Barn is a must. Carnoustie is a must. I think North Berwick is a must. And then you probably play Troon or Prestwick or one of those two. Danny, we could go over there and travel around Scotland for 3 weeks and play well-known courses, and then other courses that nobody's ever heard of. North Berwick, and it's one of the best courses in the whole world.
Interesting.
And you just go, wow. And the way they're built, Danny, they have these things called stack sod bunkers over there where they literally take sod and stack it on top, and so you can see these levels in there. And by doing that, they can make them tall, round, and your ball just goes in the weirdest places in those, man. It's crazy.
Hey, this has been a great show. We thank everybody for the emails, too. I know this is like your favorite part of the show, the emails. You love them.
It's amazing, folks. I so appreciate you writing in. And Danny, great job on mentioning the parents thing. We get that all the time about the junior golfers and things like that. So we're just full service providers over here. We want to help in any way we can.
Love it. Love you too, buddy, and happy Easter.
Right on, you too, D. And hit him straight, St. Louis.
No,
I jumped the gun. Hang on a minute.
Jumped the gun.
All right.
3, 2, and 1.
Hit him straight, St. Louis.
There you go.
Do you remember the golden rule? I'm sure you do, but just in case, it goes like this. Treat people the way that you'd like to be treated. At People's National Bank, that one statement is the cornerstone of what this bank is all about. Locally owned, with 23 locations in Southern Illinois and the metropolitan St. Louis area, People's National Bank parlays a robust menu of commercial or personal banking services you could possibly need with a friendly yet hardworking Midwestern attitude. Maybe you just want to do business with a bank whose entire team lives in the same neighborhoods as we do. If you're like me and doing business with someone you trust is important to you, then People's National Bank is the bank for you. Jason Rantham, local president, is here for you to call, and he'll answer any questions you may have. His personal cell is 314-974-2243. You can also find us online at peoplesnationalbank.com. People's National Bank is here for all of your banking needs.
Get ready to watch the legends of golf up close when they compete at historic Norwood Hills Country Club right here in St. Louis. The Ascension Charity Classic will be back again with some of golf's biggest names: Steve Stricker, Padraig Harrington, John Daly, David Duval, Bernard Langer, Ernie Els, and more will return September 3rd through the 8th at Norwood Hills. All tournament proceeds go to area charities serving North St. Louis County youth and families. Sponsorship opportunities, Pro-Am foursomes, and more information available for you at AscensionCharityClassic.com.
Hey, Jay Delsing here, and I know I speak for all of we golfers. We're always looking to try to improve our game. For me, that means I go to one place, and that one place is Pro-Am Golf in Brentwood. Tom DeGrand opened his family business in 1975 with a goal of providing St. Louis with the finest in golf equipment, instruction, and technology. Whether you need a new rangefinder, your first set of clubs, or anything else you can think of, Pro-Am Golf has just what you're looking for. If you're a scratch handicap or you carry a 20 handicap, come visit Pro-Am Golf and inquire about a lesson from Tom DeGrand. He's been fixing golf swings and making St. Louis better at golf for over 40 years. Go get your gear, lessons, or anything golf related where I go, and that's Pro-Am Golf in Brentwood. You can also visit them online at Pro-Am Golf USA. That's ProAmGolfUSA.com. It's Pro-Am Golf, proud sponsor of the Golf with Jay Delsing show.
Hey, St. Louis, Eddie McVeigh here from Maggie O'Brien's. When you head downtown for a concert or cards or blues game, and now for the St. Louis City soccer game, please come see us at Maggie O'Brien's before and after your event. Take our shuttle to and from, or stay in-house and watch your favorite team on our multiple high-def TVs. We look forward to seeing you soon at one of our 2 locations in Sunset Hills on South Lindbergh or downtown at the corner of Market and 20th Street. Union Station is next to us.
Hey, this is Jay Delsing for SSM Health Physical Therapy. Our golf program has the same screening techniques and technology as the pros on the PGA Tour use. SSM Health Physical Therapy has the Titleist Performance Institute trained physical therapists that can perform the TPI screening on you, as well as use the K-Vest 3D motion capture system. Proper posture, alignment, etc. can help you keep your game right down the middle. We have 80 locations in the St. Louis area. Call 800-518-1626 or visit them on the web at ssmphysicaltherapy.com. Your therapy, our passion.
This is Adam Betts from Family Golf and Learning Center located in Kirkwood. Our motto is play your best golf. We have the best instruction for every skill level. 2 female instructors along with our 8 PGA instructors. We're there for the kids and the adults who are starting to play and trying to refine their game. Family Golf and Learning Center features a double-decker driving range, grass tees, and a short game area, along with indoor simulators and a performance center. That's not all. Don't forget about our Back Nine Bar and Grill. Find out how we can help you and your family. Head to FamilyGolfOnline.com. That's FamilyGolfOnline.com. It's Family Golf and Learning Center, where we make St. Louis better at golf.
If you're in the market for a new or used vehicle, any make or model, then you need to visit the Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood. They are the official vehicle provider of the Golf with Jay Delsing show. My daughter and I both drive vehicles supplied by Colin and the Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood, and it's because we know we can trust them. They made the car buying experience painless and easy, and their customer service is second to none. Every single step of the car buying experience was taken care of for us. You can reach Colin at 314-966-0303, and he will answer all of your questions and put your mind at ease. The Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood has new or pre-owned vehicles to be purchased or leased, whichever you prefer. Once you visit the Dean Team Volkswagen on Manchester in Kirkwood, you'll be a customer for life because they will treat you like family. The Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood, the official vehicle provider of the Golf with Jay Delsing show.
This is Paul Lazinger, and you're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing.
Are you driving an out-of-warranty car? It's only a matter of time before your out-of-warranty vehicle is in the shop costing you thousands of dollars. Auto repair costs are up nearly 20% from last year, which is 4 times the rate of inflation. If an unexpected breakdown happened today, would you be ready for that? Well, now you can be with a plan through CarShield. Even if your car is just over 3 years old, it's still prone to expensive costs. Your car is more than just getting you from point A to point B. Traveling by car is a way of life. From picking up your kids to going to a new restaurant, cars are a daily essential. When you enroll in a car protection plan through CarShield, you can look forward to the following. The price will never go up no matter how many claims you file, or no matter how high the mileage on your car increases. CarShield offers protection plans that start as low as $100 per month. That's $100 per month. They have repair coverage for up to 5,000 different parts of your vehicle. Plus, when your car breaks down and you're stuck on the side of the road, you get 24/7 coast-to-coast roadside assistance. You also get complimentary towing and rental car options. CarShield has my back when my car breaks down, and they can have yours too. Call CarShield today at 800-465-6550 or visit carshield.com. It's CarShield, proud sponsor of the Golf with Jay Delsing show.
Dan McLaughlin back with you on 101 ESPN. A reminder that Golf with Jay Delsing is heard every Sunday morning from 8 to 10. The latest news in golf, news from the LPGA and PGA Tours, and lessons for your game. Every Sunday, 8 to 10 on 101 ESPN.
Daugherty Business Solutions has been enhancing the business of our customers for the last 37 years. How do we do it? Through our expertise in technology, better use of data and analytics, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. We roll up our sleeves and collaborate. We build applications and effectively communicate with our partner clients to bring their goals and objectives to the finish line. Our award-winning Access Point program is a community game changer. With nearly 100 students in the program, mostly young African-American females are making between $55,000 and $60,000 per year right out of high school. That's right, $55,000 to $60,000 a year right after high school graduation. That's when they begin their training. CEO Ron Daugherty believes the talent is equally distributed, but access to that opportunity is not. So here's Access Point, providing more and more opportunity for those in and around our community. It's Daugherty Business Solutions. I'm delighted to welcome the Amateur Players Tour to the Golf with Jay Delsing show. The APT team has worked so hard to establish a national golf tour for amateurs. Folks, don't miss out on this opportunity. If you love golf and ever wondered what all the fuss about tournament golf is, then this tour is for you. We just released the 2024 schedule, and it is a beast. There's 21 events currently in the metropolitan St. Louis area, with many more to come. But check out these golf courses: Paynes Valley, Ozark National, Stonewolf, Ambrier, Persimmon Woods, Gateway National, and a 36-hole event on Norwood's West Course, and many more. Okay, so the courses are certainly cool and nice, but what's really neat is the way the events are run and how they are run. The APT team does a fantastic job of closely monitoring handicaps and ensuring a good and fair competition. There are 5 divisions, a year-long points competition, major championships, elevated events, and much, much more. Right now, there are over 6,000 members in 41 different local chapters across the country, and all that's happened in just over 5 years. Join now and don't miss out on the best tournament golf in the country, run for amateurs by amateurs themselves. Go to amateurplayerstour.com. That's amateurplayerstour.com.
For the best in Italian cuisine in St. Louis, look no further than Paul Manno's, located in Chesterfield. It's traditional Italian cooking, and their best ingredient, it's their tradition. It's cooking like Paul's grandmother used to make, and like his mother still prepares today. There are no corners cut at Paul Manno's. From greeting you at the door to the pasta you'll share with your family, Paul Manno's is committed to bringing you their very best anytime you share a meal at their place. It's Paul Manno's, located in Chesterfield.